PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who I've been called, I've made podcasts about building birdhouses. I don't know if I've built a birdhouse. I'd like to build a bird home, and still working on that one birdhouse within me. Not to put too fine a pine on it or whatever they say. But it's time for the podcaster who's here. If you're new, so I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for checking this podcast out. I really hope I can help you get the rest you need and you deserve. You do deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a bedtime you could feel neutral about or look forward to. This show is a bit different, so it does take a couple tries to get used to. Because it's one of those things that you say, when are you going to put me to sleep? Well, I'm more here to keep you company with my rambling asides and stories and getting mixed up then you realize, oh, I don't need to, you're just a comforting friend who's going to talk to me, but I don't need to listen. I say, exactly, because you deserve a bedtime. You deserve the rest you need. So see how it goes. It's just what hundreds and thousands of people that are regular listeners said. Hey, it took 2 or 3 tries before I realized, oh, I don't get it. Exactly. So I'm glad you're here. What we got coming up, we'll have support. That's how the podcast comes out free. And you can always sign up for ad-free version if you become a regular listener. Then there's a long meandering intro, which will ease you into bedtime, or be part of your wind down routine, or hopefully make you barely smile as you get comfortable and start drifting off. And after that, we'll have support, and then our bedtime story, which would be a really nice one, episodically modular. So that's what we got coming up. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And here's a couple of ways we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Hey, everybody, Scoots, and I don't know how you're listening to Sleep With Me right now, but don't you want to be listening to the show in the most comfortable way possible? How about with a little bit of a Sleep With Me swag on your forehead? So, I mean, and maybe anybody else say, oh boy, sleeping with my boyfriend here. Well, the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me is with sleep phones, and you could get Sleep With Me branded sleep phones at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones. It's amazing, comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me. They have wireless sleep phones. They have corded sleep phones. They have wireless with wireless charging sleep phones. So you don't need your phone there. And you won't keep your partner awake or your pet awake. They're great for running. They cover your ears. Some people even pull them down over their eyes. And you can get those at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones. Treat yourself in the new year, because I don't know which way you're listening to Sleep With Me now. Don't you want to listen the most comfortable way? That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones, and use Sleep With Me, one word, Sleep With Me at checkout for $5 off. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, and this person is I may get a little choked up here. This episode, in a bunch of episodes, should be dedicated to my friend Cornelia, who we tried a referral program, and Cornelia has been the largest person who's spread the word about the show, formally and informally brought so many people to the podcast, given so much to me, the show, and the community around the show. And I just want Cornelia to know, wherever you're listening, Cornelia, we really love and care about you, and we're so grateful for your presence, and for you being you, basically, is what it comes down to. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't even want to do it without listeners like Cornelia. And if you say, well, what did Cornelia do? Just let other people know about the show, your genuine experience about the podcast, and just being you in a kind, loving way, loving yourself, being interested in people, I don't know. Thank you so much, Cornelia. And like I said, I know you're hearing this, and I hope it's putting a smile on your face, and know that me and the other listeners are there holding your hand. So, thank you, Cornelia. That's the first part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need right now. If you're having a tough time, there's resources you could connect with right now in our show notes, including international resources about being a part of positive change in community, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop API hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but learning more and then taking action. There's links to resources where you could do that in our show notes. And one of the actions we're taking is building hygiene kits for people experiencing homelessness. You could do it and you could distribute it right in your own community, or you could be a part of sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission is the newsletter I use for building the hygiene kits together, or buying them, or reaching out to your local homeless shelter or support services and seeing what do they need, or asking people you encounter on a regular basis. So, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. Oh, Mystery Bart, a lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Posty poster son sounds like a near fall. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bart. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. And what do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed and turn out the lights and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether that's thoughts, on your mind, things you're thinking about, like thoughts about the past, the present, the future, thinking stuff, constant thoughts, is one of the things that I was just walking. You say, how many thoughts can you have while walking a dog? How many speeches could one part of my brain give? Or was it a soliloquy? I said, why can't I get I'm sure it would grow old fast, but why couldn't I have like a haiku brain instead of an internal critic or an internal debater or saying, well, if you just said it this, let's learn how to make speeches about nothing. I said, but I never, this never comes up in normal conversation. Couldn't if I'm going to have a skill that's not always useful, except when I'm walking the dog, I don't even know what, that'd be nice, because I say, well, now I know how many syllables are in a haiku, because I got a part of my brain constantly delivering them. Or it could be pithy things, that might be more, a dog on a leash is, we'll keep it, someone who doesn't like, off-leash dogs from saying sheesh. And, maybe when you get home, you can make the two of you a dog-friendly quiche. And I say, okay, no, I guess I prefer what goes on in my brain. Oh, but whatever's keeping you awake, thoughts, it could be feelings coming up related to those thoughts, anything emotionally there or, appearing, coming up now. It could be physical sensations. It could be changes in time, temperature, routine. You could have something big coming up. You could be going through something big. Or you could have guests. You could be traveling. Whatever it is. And the reason I share all that is because, well, one, you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a bedtime you could look forward to or feel neutral about, and the rest you need so your life is more manageable. and eventually regularly getting the sleep you need so you could be out there flourishing. That means our world's a better place if your world's a better place. So that's one reason why it's so important to me. The other reason is I know how it feels in the deep, dark night, and so do hundreds of thousands of other people that are listening right now. And not everybody might not have experienced what you're going through, but a lot of us might be able to relate to it. Probably some of us can directly relate to how it feels, whether it's trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, trouble waking up, whatever it is. And we say, yeah, it's tough, and you deserve a little bit better. So I hope this show can provide that. Whatever it is that's keeping you awake. The way I'm going to help is, or try to help is, I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents. So that means you've already seen that. My voice is not traditionally soothing. And it also means I'm going to go off topic. I'm going to get mixed up. Then I'll double back. I'll say, wait a second, what was I thinking about? What was I even talking about earlier? Thoughts. And then I got sidetracked about feelings. And then I went back and then I then I said, whoa, what? So pointless meanders, superfluous tangents, all to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so that you could fall asleep. And what that means is, strangely enough, this is a podcast you don't really listen to. You can listen, but it's a podcast that for most people, they just kind of barely listen, or they listen, but not in an engaged way, just kind of like something that's just out of focus. You say, oh, okay, I could kind of see what you're talking about, but I'm not really listening. I'm kind of getting comfortable here and getting ready to drift off. So that's kind of, I don't know what this is a podcast you kind of just barely listen to. If you can't sleep, don't worry. I'm gonna be here to the very end to keep you company. But that's kind of what works about the show. I'm here to keep you company whether you're listening or not. This also is a podcast that doesn't put you to sleep, so there's no pressure to fall asleep. I'm here to keep you company while you fall asleep, to take your mind off of stuff, to be your friend, your companion, your bore friend, your bore bae, your bore sib, your bore bud, your bore bestie, your bore burr, your neighbor, your bore friend. Did I already say that? Your bore bruh, your bore bud, whatever it is. I'm here to keep you company, whether you're awake or asleep, to take your mind off whatever is, because for me, it's when my brain starts thinking about stuff at bedtime. It's very rarely about something outside of me, right? And once I become the central character in whatever drama of the night my brain decides on, or if it's something physical or some feelings or an anticipation, it's really hard for me to let it go. So this is something outside of yourself that you could just kind of barely listen to and just say to those parts, I call them brain bots. It hasn't come up in a while, but they're zooming around up there, right? Like, hey, did you remember this? Oh boy, I'll be back. Hey, did you remember? So they're zooming around. They're hyper active, hyper vigilant, and they can only have, they only have like one purpose, each one of them. And, or one concern. So what I do is I say, hey, brain bots, come on over. I'm going to be, I hear you beeping and blurping. Totally. I'm going to be talking here about nothing much. So why don't you come over here and listen? Don't worry. I know those alert. The good thing is somehow you recharge whenever I'm and you're totally ready at bedtime every single time. So I know you have your jobs covered. So we don't even need to, we don't need to mute you, but it'd be great if you did. So I'm going to tell you all a story, and it's going to be about pets or someone that it becomes a pet. Well, it's tough to explain, but don't worry, I'll explain it coming up here. And it'll be nice. And I even have BrainBot-based treats. I forgot what they were. Candied meanders. Oh boy, the candy meander. If Sleep With Me ever exited at a gift shop, there'd definitely be candied meanders. And of course, meanderware available for purchase. Oh boy, but yeah, I brought enough and I brought I brought a special double baked double baked tangent dipped tangents. They're double baked, baked once, then baked again. Tangential tangents, and I do have some tangerine tangents as well. Those are crystallized tangerine tangents. Oh boy, dehydrated. Yep, you got it. So don't worry, I'm going to tell you a story. I got plenty of stuff to share, and plenty for everybody. No need to no need to form a line even. I'll bring them right to you. So that's the thing is I'm here to don't need to listen to me. Yeah, no need to fall asleep. I'm here to keep you company. So if you can't sleep, I'll be here to the very end. If you're asleep, I'll be here to the very end, keeping you company. A couple other things to know that throw people off. This podcast just takes some getting used to, because naturally, if you've been having trouble sleeping for a while, or even if it's something new, you're looking for a solution, right? And maybe somebody told you about this podcast, or you tried a bunch of other stuff and it only worked once or twice, and then you moved on, or you spent a bunch of money on a bunch of different things. This is all stuff I've done and a lot of other listeners have done. And it makes you skeptical and doubtful and not always in the best mood. That's totally normal. And that's how most people end up at this show, is out of a place of frustration. And then you say, what is this rambling you're doing? So those are normal feelings. And what happens is after 2 or 3 tries, you realize, oh, okay, this is like that Douglas Adams thing said, mostly harmless. You're just here to keep me company and talk. Really, you were accurate, but it was hard to determine that you were accurate until I listened to a few times. And then I realized, oh, it is like someone holding on to sand. It's just drifting through your fingers over and over again, out of focus or whatever, because that doesn't make any sense until I see it in practice. So give it a few tries and see how it goes. If you already definitely don't like the show, that's normal too. And if you don't want to give it a few tries, that's fine. Check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. It's got a bunch of other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff on there for you to check out. Because even if you don't like me or the show, it doesn't change the fact I know how it feels, and you deserve a good night's sleep. So see how it goes, or check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. Structure show also throws people off. So I'll go through the structure show. Starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Then I maybe say some funny stuff or barely funny stuff. That way you say, okay, I feel seen and welcomed in. I'll check this show out. Then there's support. Believe it or not, like many hours going and making the show and keeping it coming out twice a week. So the support from the listeners and sponsors enable us to do that for free, or paying for it's optional. Then after the support is the intro, which we're already into. And the intros last just somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes long. It's separate from the support, which I'm sorry if you get frustrated that the support for the show and then it gets projected onto the intro. They're not the same thing. The intro is here, 1, to introduce new people to the podcast, 2, for me to naturally go off topic and get mixed up, and then 3, to ease you into bedtime, to give you a transition from being awake to being asleep. The intro, for a lot of listeners, is part of their wind down routine or their getting ready for bed routine. While there are listeners that are asleep, and oh boy, are we so happy for you. And there are about 2% of people that skip the intro. There's actually more people that pay just to listen to intros on Patreon. So that kind of shows, hey, everybody's different. So as you become a regular listener, you can kind of adjust. But at first, just try it out. The intro is meant to slowly lower the volume, whether you're in bed getting comfortable, or you're already asleep, or you're brushing your teeth and other great stuff, or doing some sort of chill activity. That's what the intro does. It eases you into bedtime. And that's just what's been shown to work for me and with sleep studies, is having a wind down routine. So I do hope as you become a regular listener, if you do, that you say, oh, okay, maybe I'll do some doodling or foam rolling or pet my pet or whatever it is to give yourself even more stuff to say, oh, I'm looking forward to those things at bedtime. Because that's just what works for me, not all the time, but most of the time. So that's the intro. Then again, there's support between the intro and the story, so the show can come out free twice a week. Then there's our bedtime story. Tonight will be our ongoing episodically modular series, which is brand new. I think it's going to be called, so I don't even know 100% the title. I think it's going to be called Make Great Pets. So it's about pets. I mean, what could be nicer? So that'll go on for about 45 or 50 minutes. Then there's some thank yous at the end. So it's the structure of the show. That's why I make the show. And I'm so glad you're here. I really appreciate you coming by and checking the podcast. I appreciate your time. And I really hope I can help you fall asleep. In fact, I yearn and I strive and work really hard because it is important. And here's a couple ways I'm able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive, home of the Name Your Price tool. You say how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you the coverage options to fit your budget. It's easy to start a quote. Visit Progressive.com to get started. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. All right, everybody, it is time for our episodically modular series that this is the second episode, but you can listen to it in any order as the character is going to set up all the details you need to know. It's kind of a training. It's training of how to be helpful. It's fictional, but it's a training journal. The episodically modular part should be built in, though the series, I think, will make Great Pets is the working title as of right now. But the secret is I record this in 2022, and this will be coming out at some point in 2023. So things change, but hopefully that title sticks. Make Great Pets. That describes great pets would be the best. Pets are great. I don't know. Probably not the best time to brainstorm when I'm trying to set up our series. So basically, you really don't need to know anything other than it's a character named Ren, and they're recording training sessions, and they should explain everything, and the rest of it from there. Really nice. If you love pets, holy cow, are you in for a sleepy treat? But if you love voices that are soothing, but also stimulating, unlike mine. Mine is just, you say, well, it's kind of soothing, not very stimulating. This person's voice is so stimulating, we use it to kick off every episodically modular series, so then you could fall off from there. You say, okay, I was stimulated slightly. So this is our Hollywood announcer, drives all the way from Los Angeles, sits in my driveway until I tell them, okay, you can come in now. You know what? Can you give me 5 more minutes? I see you through the kitchen window, though. Right, I'm doing some dishes, and I need 5 more minutes of thinking, preparing to socialize time. But we're really good friends, they say. And I say, yeah, that's why I only need 5 minutes more. But I usually have to use a restroom. You know how it goes with these Hollywood big shots. I got to use your restroom. I just drove 6 hours for free. Electric, all solar powered, and with a solar powered smile, a powerful solar smile. It's Mr. Antonio Banderas. Thank you. As the lady says, Scooter, do you remember if I introduced the first episode of the series or not? I don't, Antonio, because that's probably pretty, I might have been, you might not have. I'm good to be, I don't remember either. It's the friends beyond the binary. It's the ladies, it's the gentlemen, it's the boys and girls. It's time to get cozy, to get comforted, to get loving. It's time for Great Pets. Meow. Wow, that's a class. I don't know if you've ever done a meow like that, and it was like it was a symbolic meow. I love it, Antonio. Also, if Antonio wasn't in the first episode, we both apologize. Sometimes we can get distracted. Because I got to record these before they come out, so the first episode hasn't even been edited yet. But, that's what makes it fun. So this is Great Pets, and that was Mr. Antonio Banderas. Okay, hello, everybody. My name's Rin, and if you're listening to this, it's a training module, which is basically my journal as I'm learning this process. So I'll be learning, and you'll be learning from me. And that's great because even you may have more knowledge than me. You may even have more experience than me. And I may be even making examples of how not to do things. But also more will be revealed. I think as I'm learning, there is one thing there's a few things that are sticking out to me. But so I'm here. I'm going to be recording these trainings as I learn the process. They said I'm a little distracted, so let me just get my distraction out of the way. Then I'll go back to what's going on. Because I'm singing in my head here because I'm not like a bird. I am a bird. I can fly. I can't fly away, but I can fly around this house I'm in. And, this is the kind of thing that they can't prepare you for. You see, well, you're in a new state of existence. Wasn't prepared for that as a human, earthbound human. Then they explained to me how this new phase, the old big farm works. No farm, not big, but endless. And they explained to me, and I said, okay, wait a second, I got to get a job. And they said, you in particular have to get a job. I said, terrific. Tell me more. I thought where's the beach and the umbrella drinks? But that's neither here nor there. This is just an example of me venting. Oh, but being a bird, they can't prepare you for it. Holy cow, flights is amazing. And it feels good. There's some, processes of being that I wasn't prepared for, some of the internal activities of a bird. But the flying part, pretty good. The squawking, there's involuntary squawk, well, I haven't been able to trace it. It's not my choice to squawk. So some of the squawking is not, couldn't be prepared for that either. You see, can't you hear that? Because I can hear it. So I'm a bird, which goes back to our training. So if you're listening to this, maybe you acquired it by some other means, but otherwise, you're preparing for this new program they've been testing, post-Bessos incident, or the cash penny incident, whatever they're calling it. And this attempt to help this particular version of Earth, which happens to be the version of Earth I came from, which is pretty cool. I think this part, I said, this was happening when I was on Earth or after? I don't know. Timelines, let's not get into it. But so you're an opportunity, much like me, to become or have a presence within a pet in a home or maybe some other location. This is only my second job. And to be the pet and to help someone or more than one person get through something. And yes, it's similar to the ideas of the Guardian. It was originally, they tested out with one version of Earth, the Guardian Angels. That's a pretty popular myth, too. So it was both something happening and a myth. And that was the Bessos Penny timeline, or what is Sears Penny timeline, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a historian of all these different things. And that didn't exactly work. You can take the angel out of Earth, but you can't take the humanity out of an angel. It turns out, and that's when they said, "Well, let's do the opposite. Let's have a negative someone to show you the wrong choices," and that definitely didn't work. And so this is the latest. My understanding of my task at hand is, help the people through one of these phases that turns out to be an opportunity, OFEG, an opportunity for extreme growth, a turning point, as they say, though not a turning point like back when there was one centralized figurehead, and they said, they would do some finger wagging, the finger wagging of the figurehead. Oh, I don't think I'm supposed to record this stuff out, some of these thoughts out loud, but these are the thoughts I have. So if you're going to relate to my training, otherwise they could just delete it. But if you get a chance to be a bird, it's nice. Even jumping around, and also the clacking of your, what are these? They're not paws, are they? Claws? Tail? I don't have talons. Oh, well, I'll talk about what kind of bird I am and stuff. So I think that's it. I'm here to help, so I'm here to record me learning how to help, what it's like being inside a pet. You should have got some more training with body awareness and motion and the communication system and then the dream journaling. That's what I'm doing now. Pet's asleep, bird's asleep. Old caw too much. That's not the bird's name, but. So, the other thing I've learned, or I'm learning, or maybe I'm aware of, trying to find joy and fun and look at the positive. Maybe that's why they signed me up for this, because those aren't, maybe I'm more aware of those areas. This area of deficiency, what I was told in my life review. And so I guess this is also, as they pitched it, maybe not to you. This is your chance. This is a chance for another round, different style, humanity in a different style in a bird. And it really does help me, to be honest. I didn't think any of this would work. But, I say, hey, if this particular family can, move on from here and flourish or have a little bit better existence, make better choices, be more aware of the joy, positivity, and fun in the world than I was. Holy cow. I'm not saying this with any irony, but I'm flapping my gums and not my wings. So with the training, they said something like, being positive helps me be helpful or something. I can't remember. Oh, but I just wanted to go on one more tangent about this, I guess, because I'm trying to learn and train you by doing, there was a competing training service of just be yourself or just do your best. And I have not found that useful because, and not even in helping them, obviously, that's a whole nother challenge. How's a pet going to help somebody? But I guess the other things they tried to help people, I don't know if it didn't work. There was that argument, so why do we even need to get involved? When we get involved, but so whatever. This is a low impact, they say. I listened in on my trainers discussing things and they said, well, how much, they said, how much damage could he possibly do, Rin, as a pet? I don't know. So I was saying, don't do your best or try to be yourself. Try to be on the path to discovering the best versions of these people you're working with and yourself. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of downtime. So unfortunately, you got a lot of time to think about this stuff. But I can't write anything down. So that's why it's a little bit jumbled. So I'm a bird. I'm a squawker. And I can talk, which I think is going to be helpful. But it's, like I said, it's pretty loud. And so far, I know I can say, hello, Purdy. That's my name, Purdy. Are you hungry now? I can say that. I think I'm repeating what has been said. Are you hungry now? Purdy, be quiet. That's one that's come out quite a lot. And Lucia, bedtime. That's another one. I'm in Lucia's room. We'll get to that. So I don't know if I'm a macaw. I think I'm a macaw just because of the cawing, but I don't know if a macaw. I don't know if they always said parrots talked, but I thought it was parakeets. I'm very nice. I got a nice green. I would say I'm even. I forgot what that word was, but like sparkly. Okay, so the W's, right? Who, what, where, when, how, why. Task at hand. There's a family of 3 people, or 4, well, or 5, depending on how you're counting. So like Lucia, Lucia's the child. I live in her room. I'm her pet, technically. And actually, she is responsible for me. What else? Parents, I don't know. I didn't catch their names. And then there's a 4th person. This is slightly confusing. She's Aunt Lucinda. So we have Lucia and Lucinda, but Lucinda hasn't come yet. But I guess she has a room here. So she kind of visits, but like for long, she kind of lives here, but kind of doesn't. I don't know. So that's number 4. So you have Lucia, mom, dad, Lucinda, maybe. And then number 5, and you might want to sit, if you're not sitting down listening to this, you might want to sit down. I mean, I don't know where you've been, but Lucia, and this is a new situation, has a twin android sister. But maybe not like you're thinking, because if you would have told me this, I would have been like what I would have pictured in my head would be slightly different than the reality. But like most things, it's in between it's in the gray. So this is also why Aunt Lucinda's trying to get here, because things have been rocky. We're post-honeymoon period with the twin android sister. And I think this is why I'm here. This is a turning point. Okay, the twin sister also does not have a name at this time. At first, Lucia couldn't decide on a name, and now she's realizing it's something under her control, so she's refusing to come up with a name. And this is the end of my first day here, so I'm pretty good. I think I'm collecting pretty good stuff. So the honeymoon period of this, and when I say honeymoon, you know what I mean, the newness is worn off with Lucia and the android twin. And now there's kind of this, I believe that the android twin was offered as a distraction and not a solution anyway. But the tension seems to be building. So it's like the underlying tension, then the distraction, and then the distraction becomes a cause of new tension. But I'm supposed to be finding the joy here too. Well, Lucy's great. I would say she has joy in her eyes, quiet kind of joy. And who? So she is a kid. Again, I don't know, maybe I wasn't paying attention during this training. She's not a baby, not a toddler, she's like school age, but not like older school age. And so she's not like a little kid, like not a kindergarten or maybe, I don't know, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, something like that. Or grade, I don't know where your training is, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. I don't see a lot of her parents. I hear them, they seem on the sad side, I guess, and desperate to please in a different kind of way for each of them, on edge, and they seem sad or disappointed because this seemed like they were fixed move. They thought this would work, but they seem to be on a crest back up because they said, "Well, I thought this would work," not realizing it was a distraction. But I think they think that Aunt Lucinda will fix things. And, maybe between me and Aunt Lucinda, we'll get it all solved. When I say what would fix things, the android twin sister. And so this is what I want to get into expectations in case you encounter an android twin, but it could be at a different time. Like, so I don't know if you, when I say the word android, what you picture in your head, especially when I say android twin sister. But yes, this android is the same size and body type and looks the same as Lucia. Her parents did buy her a lot of similar outfits so that they could dress the same, though that has not been following through on. But if you're talking about like go back to like ages, like what generation android is this? I would say it's not an early generation. Like there's no steam coming out or, but I wouldn't say I would send this thing off to, get a graduate degree. It's no data like in that Star Trek The Next Generation or some sort of super advanced being. I don't like, but it's not so clunky as something that looks like it was put together in a garage. But when you watch it, I don't know if you remember those like early Disney movies, like early animated motion pictures. You could see how, maybe I didn't live the fullest life, but these are the things. But I don't know if there was like this one called Snow White. I don't know if you ever saw it. There was other ones like it. And it was early on, so there was just something about the motion of the human characters in those films. They say, that's, something's off about it. And they knew it, and they said, okay, it's just a matter of, I don't know what the solution ended up being. It's just really difficult to move like a human if you're not a human, I guess. So, she's not going to, they're not going to go to school and fool anybody for very long. I don't know. It's just one of those uncanny things. Like, even if they're standing side by side, I mean, maybe if like it was, you used trick lighting and makeup or something, but otherwise you'd say, okay, come on, Lucia, let's go. So I don't know. That's what I have so far. Just observing, not exactly sure where to get started other than by paying attention and trying to find, I mean, there are probably positives about having an android sister, and I don't think it's an empty gesture. I don't know how many other kids have android, if this is a big thing right now. Lucia had friends over. She did not like, well, today, I mean, like I heard them talking, but I think it's supposed to, when this is just speculation, so we're not really supposed to speculate, but I figure when she first got the android, then she was having people over to play with it, but now it's kind of like something else going on. So I'm going to rest inside my bird here, and I guess I'll squawk to you later. All right, hey, this is Ren, and I'll be honest, it's been a few days. They said it would be easier for me to record one of these and do a journal every single night, but the flying I've been flying around the house a lot, and again, it's just too awesome. But also, I've been Aunt Lucinda's here. I don't know whose aunt she is. But Aunt Lucinda is a problem solver. So I said, this must be why the parents were anticipating her arrival. Or maybe she's more of like a catalyst for problem solving, or the problem solving manager. Like, she's very efficient and effective. But I'm not sure. So then I'm like, oh, well, my job's to find some joy, I don't know, she does not seem she seems interested in solving things. Reminds me a bit of me in a different way. So I say, okay, well, I'm supposed to be kind of keeping an eye out for joy and fun, at least on some level. So I don't know if I always agree with her methods either. With the parents, she's very using techniques that would make me uncomfortable, like a lot of finger wagging, saying you got, very judgmental, or what could feel judgmental to me. But also kind of to pressure the parents to become unstuck because they seem stuck. But with Lucia, she's not as, she's a little bit lighter. She's more stern but clear. Not a lot of subtext, which is good, I think. And very task-driven. And one of the things that came up for the first couple days of her arrival, when it seemed like Lucinda was dealing with the parents, was she would go to Lucia and say, well, what's your problem with your sister? She's not my sister. Okay. Well, okay. What's your problem with your new friend? She's not my friend. Okay. And then finally, she kind of had to, keep asking until Lucia said, I just don't like her. I just don't like her. And I don't want her. And then Lucinda said, okay, well, let's come up with a list of the things like you don't like about your sister. And she's not my sister. Okay. But let's come up with a list of things. She goes, let's be specific. Be as specific as you can so we can look at these. And I know one thing. So this might help with the age. Lucia still plays with toys a little bit. And so I don't know if that helps at all. But Lucinda has the android, who I'll have to name. I'll just call her Droidy. She broke some of the toys. Initially, this was before. And some of the favorite toys. And one, Lucinda, or Lucia, this is confusing with these names. Auntie, I call her. So maybe this might be helpful to you. I don't know. We're getting confused with the names. So Lucia, stopped playing with her toys or would play with them alone, but also was like, did you break this on purpose? And the android is very droid-like. I did not break this toy on purpose. I don't need to get into it. This isn't really about that's not the interpersonal part of it, at least with the android. Unless I'm here to help the android, I have not detected a sense of sentience or consciousness in the android, but that doesn't mean I'm open to that. So this was one where I was able to help, and I said, okay, maybe me and Auntie are going to work together, because I was able to go to the garage, knock over a thing of old toys, fly a couple of them in my claws, and did throw Auntie off, but she said, what do you got there? Look at this. This is your old tea set, Prim and Princess tea set or whatever. And we could have party with those are going out to be donated. But so then she said, you and your sister could you and Droidy could have a tea, you could use these, and if she breaks it, it's okay. So what's the next thing that you could play with her, she said, well, she's cold to the touch. It's not like when I hug my mom or my dad or you, she's not a person, but it's also just it's not something I want to snuggle with. And again, Lucinda or Auntie and I, we took two different tactics. The same thing. I grabbed an electric blanket. First, I had to look, but linen closet's always a good, just in case you're like linen. If you're looking for an electric blanket, linen closet is you got at least a 20 or 30% chance, and in this case, 100% chance. Auntie was more in the hot water bottle camp. But they did both. It didn't really solve anything. But at least she got Lucia to put her head on, that they could, she's like, well, at least it's warm. Then there's a problem at night, which I'm aware of too, but I'm like usually busy. Like after I do this journaling, I get tired. So the thing is that it is not a magical android like you see in the movies. So the android does make maintenance noises at night. Like where it's cycling, whatever, its circulatory system. And that's not silent. But, the parents have 2 beds in the room, like they're really twin sisters now. And again, more of it's come out like that, that it was a thing of like, I wanted a sister, I'm lonely, and that this would help. And those kind of things, and I heard Lucinda, the auntie talking to the parents about it. So it's like one of those situations that not easy for anybody to deal with, and that this twin is supposed to help solve it, droidy. But so she makes these maintenance noises at night. They're not terribly loud, but you can hear it. There's a bit of whirring, a bit of slushing, pumps pumping, like at a high speed. And Lucinda doesn't like, or Lucia doesn't like it. And so she had already tried to cover her android twin in blankets, but that caused overheating, which caused the overheating alarm, which, like before total overheat, so, which was pretty loud. And also, I think you go into some different non-maintenance sleep mode or something. And the parents were like, what are you doing? She says, she's too loud at night. And I said, you'll get used to it. This is before I was here, or auntie. Then she tried that, and then she just would put the sister in the garage. But then when one of the parents would go out to work, they'd be, the first time it happened, they were like, the android was standing there. So that gave them a bit of a surprise. She tried to put the android sister in the garage. That didn't work. Parents were like, well, you can't do that. Your sister needs to sleep in there. So then, like my squawking actually helped, because they were saying, well, remember when Purdy used to talk too much, or Purdy would move around in their cage, and that used to bother you? But you got used to it. She said, I don't think, so then, this was pretty simple. It wasn't my idea. It was Auntie's. But she said, well, let's get some fans and some other noises, and maybe and then that actually worked. And it's actually pretty nice. Also, a little more airflow in the room. The fan's not blowing on me. Oh, good question. Maybe asking, is there a blanket over my cage? Sometimes, right now is the wintertime, so it's pretty dark in the room, so that I don't have it over my cage. But other times, there is a blanket. And then the one other one was, she said she doesn't like the way the android sister looks at her. Now, other thing I forgot to tell you is that, there's a ticking clock of a thing, which is that I guess they purchased or like, this is obviously an expensive thing, an android twin, but there is or they told Lucia that she would have a choice, because there is like a test period. And so I think in Lucia's, well, so we'll see, because, so she said, well, I got to work at she's supposed to talk to her parents tomorrow, and like go over all the stuff with Auntie and them. And the only one that's not resolved is like how she looks. She says, well, I don't like the way she looks at me, which is, I think it's just a technological thing that, yeah, there's a little bit of, I don't know if is this what uncanny valley means, but it's not the same as looking at a person, similar to the animation metaphor I already made. And I'm not sure what to do about that other than, can't get, then my android twin sister wears her sunglasses at night. Doesn't make any sense, right? So anyway, that's where we're at with this. And yeah, so I'm going to rest. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay, this is Ren night 3. Well, not night 3, recording 3. But this is, oh boy. So I'm not sure how I feel about this, and I'm still a bird. So I guess that means I haven't got my job done unless the change. So I guess from training purposes, okay. So, okay, what happened was Auntie said, well, let's do staring contest. She tried a bunch of different things with the eyes. And then she said, well, it's time to talk to your parents. And like, not everything, maybe this is a chance that not everything with your Android twin will be perfect. But let's go over everything with your parents and the solutions. And they had a meeting, and I was not comfortable with this. I actually did a lot of squawking because it was like 3 adults and Lucia, and the Android twin was not present for this. And they went over everything, and then they said, how do you feel about all these solutions, Lucia? And yeah, it's not perfect. And she said, well, if this is a trial period, I don't want to have her. I don't want to keep her. And everybody looked surprised. And at first it kind of was like, what do you mean you don't want to keep it? You're like the only kid, like, this is so rare. And there's so many positives about your Android twin and so many things that could be positive in the future. Like, I just don't understand. She said, well, I just don't, like, if there's a trial period, I don't want her. I don't want to keep her. It's as simple as that. And then another tactic was tried where it's like more of a frustration tactic. Well, we do all this, and this is, maybe this is your chance to learn to appreciate your sister. And then the aunties kind of used the tactics she used on the adults about, well, can't you appreciate what your parents? And then Lucia figured it out. Wait a second, like, did I ever have a choice in this situation? Or am I just stuck with this sister? And she said, is there a trial period? And the parents said, well, technically there is, but there's a deposit, and we're also we're part of a program, to improve these things. And she said, so I don't have a choice. I'm stuck with my twin, I'm stuck with this. And they kind of ended the conversation initially. And then it was more of a soothing period they went into where it was not a lot of talking. I'd say everybody did a pretty good job at first. And some space, it gave her some space and then just comforted her, didn't talk about it, gave her some time. Also, I think space of like, well, no one knows how to deal with this situation. But, everybody's feelings were strong. And I said to myself, and I tried different things, I would try to use some of the sayings to alleviate the mood. And there was no joy with that. And I couldn't find any joy, right? And then I feel like Auntie Lucinda beat me to it because she was giving space, but then she was like letting Lucia do quiet activities. And then she kind of went, she goes, oh, what are you doing? Or what do you like? It looks like, is this one of your things to do when you're feeling, when stuff's wild or whatever? What are you doing? And she said, oh, like, she goes, I have this coloring book of, she goes, but those are real places. She goes, well, this is Super Happy Birthday Land. And she goes, I would have preferred to go here than have an Android sister. And that's what I had asked for. But my parents said that won't last. Just one visit to Super Happy Birthday Land. And she said it's pretty expensive. And I don't know, one day we're going to go there. But I like to color in these pictures of it and imagine, what color, one day maybe I'll design a park, a getaway theme park like Super Happy Birthday Land. And Lucia said, Lucinda, okay, well, yeah, well, We're all just in there in the room together. And then Lucinda came in, and this was impressive. At first, I think it was impressive. But now that I guess I got to give it another day. But she pulled out a notebook and she started doing stuff. She was looking up stuff on her phone, but quietly, like parallel play type thing. And finally, Lucia said, "Well, what are you doing?" And she says, "Oh, I was making a budget to visit Super Happy Birthday Land." And Lucia said, "Are you gonna go? Are you gonna go? Are you gonna take me?" And she said, "No, I was just trying to price it out. It is expensive." And Lucia said, "Yeah." She goes, "Wow, it's really expensive." And she goes, "Take a look. This is what it would cost to visit one time." She goes, "But actually, if you visited it like once every 11 months and then once every 13 months," because she said, "It seems like you're only in the Super Happy Birthday Land age range for a few years, and you're right on the start of like, you can go on most of the attractions, all, and they're just talking about it, but hard numbers." And then Lucia said, "Well, what if I wish I could get a job?" And then they looked at one another, but I think Lucinda knew what she was doing, but maybe not. And then they looked at the android twin, and they said, then they looked back at each other, and Lucinda said, "That might just work." And then she went and talked to the parents, and so I don't know. I'm going to rest. I'll be back right away, but I don't know if that's what's happening. Okay, we're in here. So it's seems to be happening. Like Lucinda is actually like really pushing this and thinking that now it looks like the android would have to have two jobs, and there are android workers, and there are jobs that she would qualify for and she could get, not exactly high-paying jobs, obviously for some of the same reasons within her maintenance ability levels. It's all possible, but only possible if she has two jobs to earn money. And she said, this actually will work. And so everybody's excited about it. Like this is they've gone into problem solved. And even Lucia's like more happy with her sister now that the idea is that the android is going to provide for her and her parents and Aunt Lucinda maybe, depending on, tax refund or whatever. That's what Aunt Lucinda said. For them to go to Super Happy Birthday Land on vacation once a year for the next few years, as long as she works two jobs. If she works one job, then it would be probably a one-time trip or once every couple of years. But I don't know, to be honest, as I'm sitting here, that this is the solution. Well, one, I mean, I'm not jealous. I don't know. I'm just looking at everything. And one, it's like everybody's happy about it. Super Happy Birthday Land or whatever it's called. But is this a solution? Is this the right thing? And I don't think it is. And so I was trying to think, where could I find the joy in this? And honestly, I think Lucia has doubts too. Like, because at night, she'd do what do you think about you getting a job? Well, I know it will make you happy, so that would make me happy. This is the first time I've really heard them communicating in the dark, which is a powerful time. Well, what do you think about getting a job and doing these jobs? Well, it will be unexpected, and I will miss you and home. And I'm uncertain, but certain I will be able to accomplish the task at hand. And then she even said, will I be able to go to birthday? And she said, no, androids aren't allowed. And she said, oh, okay. I understand. She said, would you want to go to Super? And she goes, well, if Lucia's excited about it, I'll be excited about it. Well, also, I think they decided on a name, Birthday, for the android. So I don't know. That's just what happened today, but I'm trying to think of, why am I here? What am I here? How am I, but wait a second, what about this? What we're talking about? No, I think I have an idea. I'm going to try it tomorrow, and I'll let you know. Okay, this is Ren here. I don't know what this is. I don't know what the recording is, but this hopefully will be the last one, and I'll move on, because I think I did help. I didn't solve anything. But I said, how are we going to find... Because then even at breakfast, this is what helped, was Lucia said they were all eating breakfast. Everybody's still on this high. Auntie Lucinda's getting ready to leave again because problems are solved. But she did stare at me a couple times. And then they said, well, Birthday would like to go to Happy Birthdays. And they said, well, maybe you could sneak her in. Maybe one day they'll allow androids to stay at the hotel and go to the park, but not right now. And maybe you could get a job. Maybe she could get a job at the park. It was only behind the scenes. Well, then it'd be pretty far away. She'd have to live in, some sort of dormitory. So anyway, so Auntie Lucinda left, but I said, wait a second. And so then they were even bonding over it. And I said, wait, no one's, maybe part of this family dynamic, especially now seeing Lucinda. I said, well, what if this is another honeymoon phase, right? But, what if this is an opportunity? I said, maybe I was looking too hard for clear joy and clear things. And suddenly... the fact that Lucia was kind of seeing things from her sister, from Birthday's perspective, or droidy, as I would have preferred. So I grabbed some journals and there's a lot of, just like in any house, there's a lot of journals with 2 entries or diaries that Lucia was given that she never used. And I put them all in Birthday's bed, and Lucia said, what are those, but she saw me, so she didn't blame her sister. I just want to be clear. She said, what are you doing? And I said, what? Whatever. Are you hungry or whatever, Purdy? I was trying to use my, vocals to underline points, and I was pushing it, and she said, oh, you want Lucia to start a journal? And then, or Birthday, and then Birthday didn't understand. That's a little bit beyond Birthday's processing capabilities, a journal. So then she told her parents, and then it was, her mom said, well, what if you could keep a journal from her perspective, and trying to understand things from her perspective? What it's like to be your android twin. And Lucia said, I could call my life as an android twin. And she goes, oh, there's some extra journals here, or diaries and stuff. And the parents said, oh, okay, interesting. And she goes, she pushed them across the table. This is honestly what I was hoping to happen. I mean, I don't want to take credit for it, but I don't think it would have been possible without her. But they said, oh, you want us to keep journals as my life as an android twin? And she just kind of took her breath in. And she said, I wonder, Lucia said this, I wonder if I wrote a journal as Purdy, what it would be like to be Purdy, and, that all of a sudden, Purdy had to share, it used to just be Purdy and I. Then suddenly, a bunch of stuff went on in our lives. And then it was like, hey, you're going to live with this android twin. It's a gift that you're supposed to appreciate, Purdy. Maybe write it. And they said, write it as Purdy. And Lucia just kind of sat there in silence. And then the parents figured it out. And then they said, hey, maybe when you're done, it was a little passive aggressive, but normal. Like I said, after you're done writing, maybe you could write it as, and she goes, and then it became, they did find joy and laughter because then they started doing kind of spoof entries. Like first she was talking from the android's perspective, from birthday. She goes, my name's Birthday, and I'm writing this journal through Lucia, but so sick of Purdy squawking. And everybody laughed. And then they said, so they said, oh, my name's Lucia. I'm writing this journal through my mother's hand or my father's hand. And said, well, okay, we could take turns writing, keeping a journal as the other person for a while, wondering what it's like to be them. What are they? And then they started saying, oh, what are the challenges? And then they laughed. And, I don't want to say this, but they said, no, thank God, Auntie, they all said, their journal would have said, thank goodness Auntie Lucinda's gone, solving all our problems. So I don't know. I think we reached something, and I'll know. I'm going to go rest after this, and maybe I'll wake up back in another pet somewhere. Be nice to have a break. I mean, just in case any trainers are listening, like a debrief or something, even though I'm doing this. But it's pretty great being a pet today. I don't exactly, there are more Purdy journals being written, and they're not exactly complimentary about, but it said, well, that's just the way that's just the way a bird processes its natural environment. So anyway, I'm going to get some rest. I'm glad hopefully this was helpful for you if you're going to be a pet soon. Good night. I want to thank everybody who became a patron recently. I want to thank Aaron, Richard, and Elise. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Jen, Matthew, and Jaime. Thanks, and good night. Bethany, M, and Tyler. Thanks, and good night. Charlotte, Laura, and Heather. Thanks, and good night. V, Mal, and Faye. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Jamie, Rachel, and Allison. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Monica, Amanda, and Carly. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Joelle, Kirsten, and Adele. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Ethan, Debbie, and Madison. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Andrew, Gretchen, and Rosemary. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Mark, Erica, and Malak. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Allie, Lori, and Matt. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Zach, Lex, and Becca. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Joseph, Rick, and I. Thank you, thanks, and good night. And Jordan, Vanessa, and Eco. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody who supports the show directly by Patreon or other subscriptions or supports our sponsors. That's how we're able to bring that whole episode and all the stuff we do for free is with those people's support, so I really appreciate it. But there's tons of free ways to support the show. You can find more of those at sleepwithmepodcast.com/DDNU. But the greatest way to support the show is just spread the word about podcasting. And you can tell people about Sleep With Me and your experience with it, but if you show them how to use a podcast app and do it in a kind of, I don't know, a lot of people are resistant to us for some reason, so soft sell it. It'll unlock a whole world of content that they might not have been aware of that could be a part of their life and make it better, even if it's not Sleep With Me. So thanks, everybody, and good night. All right, everybody, it is time to talk about Helix Sleep. It's a mattress I get into every night, that Helix Dusk Luxe that I love. Helix is a premium mattress brand that provides tailored mattresses based on your unique sleep preferences. The Helix lineup includes 14 unique mattresses, including a collection of luxury models, a mattress for big and tall sleepers, and even a mattress made just for kids. And how will you know which Helix mattress model works best for you and your body? Just take the Helix Sleep Quiz and you'll find your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. And your personalized mattress is delivered straight to your door, free of charge. Helix knows there's no better way to try out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. And that's why they offer a 100-night risk-free trial. Try out your new Helix mattress, see how your body adjusts, and if you decide it's not the best fit, you're welcome to return it for a full refund. And everybody's unique. Everyone sleeps differently. That's why Helix has several different mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. They have models with memory foam layers to provide optional pressure relief if you sleep on your side. Models with a more responsive foam to cradle your body for essential support in stomach and back sleeping positions. Mattress with enhanced cooling features to keep you from overheating at night. And if your spine needs some extra TLC, they got you. Every Helix mattress has a hybrid design, combining individually wrapped steel coils in the base with premium foam layers on top. It's a perfect combination of comfort and support. And like I said, back when I took that Helix quiz, I got matched with the Helix Dusk. I picked the Helix Dusk Luxe. I sleep on my stomach. I sleep on my side. I sleep hot. But I like to have a lot of blankets on me in the wintertime. And the mattress is a perfect match. It's comfortable if I'm on my side. It's comfortable when I'm on my stomach. I don't feel too hot. And I travel enough that I know it's like I cannot wait to get home to my Helix mattress. Oh boy, do I love it. Not only is it the best mattress I've slept on, but the setup is fast and easy. Helix mattresses are delivered in a box straight to your door for free. Plus, Helix mattresses are American-made and come with a 10 or 15-year warranty depending on the model. And remember, you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. And if you don't love it, I know you will, but if you don't, they'll pick it up for you and give you a full refund. And if you don't want to take my word for it, Helix is awarded the #1 mattress by GQ and Wired magazine. It's even recommended by multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine as a go-to solution for improving your sleep. And Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep. With Helix, better sleep starts now. That's helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody.